right now. Listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That was the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it. It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
All right, 7 minutes after 4 o'clock on this exciting day, the 12th of July in the Lord's year 2016. J. Michael McCoy back in the saddle again in the 4 o'clock hour, and I have... I have many of my favorite people sitting before me, and I do like to say this every once in a while. I give Frank a bad time on the air, but it's because I really love him. And I think if I didn't give you a bad time, you wouldn't know how much I care about you.
I would fall off my chair.
And you got to remember, Frank was civilian. Frank was a caller. Frank was the feral cat that kept coming around for the warm milk that I'd put out, and that warm milk is called a phone line. And how many years ago now? 3?
Going on 3 full years down here, but I was calling you probably a year before that.
Oh, no, Frank, you've been calling me since 04.
Well, yeah.
You've been calling me for 6. You have been coming around to drink my warm milk for 12 years.
Okay.
Anyway, you've just done a very good job, and I'm very proud of you, and I'm very thankful to have you and Bob the same way with you. What you've added to this show over the years is integrity and honesty and a world view not only based in the Bible but also in science, because you're a scientist by trade. And I just appreciate that. And Jeb, you've just done a great job. How long have you been here now? I'm sorry I don't keep track. Like 12 weeks?
Yeah, something like that.
Longer than that?
3-4 months, yeah.
Yeah, and you've done just a spectacular job. And now I get to sit in front of 2 of my favorite guests, which is my longtime friend and political cohort, Tom Coates, and a guy who years and years ago, and do you remember when I used to come in the store?
Yep.
You don't have to say that.
No, I do. I remember a lot of stuff about you. I remember you being whatever the country station was.
KJJY.
I remember you coming to my hardware store. We go way, way back.
Yeah, we do. We go back to 78 or 79 because when I moved to Des Moines, the first place I lived was over there at... I don't know what it was called. It's called Camelot now, or was called Camelot by that Kmart there.
Yeah, I know where it's at. Yeah, that's where I live now, close to there.
All right,
Sherwood?
and so that's across the street.
Okay.
And you had your hardware store up there on Douglas, and I used to come in all the time, and that was before you were an elected official, and
yep.
all
Bought that store when I was 24 years old, I think.
You bought it?
Yeah.
From your dad?
No, it was going out of business. I bought it.
Oh, that wasn't your dad's before?
No,
that's right. Your parents had a store on the south side.
My mom had a store on the south side actually, she followed my footsteps.
Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, thank you both for being here. Brad is a state legislator from District 32, which includes
Actually, it's 20 now. Because the redistricting that happened 6 years ago. Anyway, no big deal. It's just my district changed. I used to represent the Beaverdale, the Hoover, the Drake, Northwest Drake area, and all of Urbandale. Now I represent all Urbandale, Johnston, and Grimes.
All right, and you're coming up for re-election this fall.
Yes, I am.
Do you have a primary?
I did not have a primary.
No, nobody challenged you
on
the Republican
did.
side.
No one did.
Do you have anybody challenging you on the Democratic side?
Yes, I do. I think she's a very outstanding candidate. She's going to give me a good run for my money. I'm going to have to work very hard to be reelected. I've met her and been around her several different times, and it'll be about issues is what it'll be, and certainly I'm not going to get outworked in the campaign.
Okay, all right. And I'm sorry, what's her name? I don't know.
Miyoko.
Yoko? Miyoko. Okay. Well, I look forward to maybe having her on. Would you guys like to do a debate on the radio?
Yeah, if she wants to, I'd be happy to.
Boy, that sounded enthusiastic, didn't it, Tom?
No, absolutely, I will. I just would. You would have to have conversations with
You
her.
have doubts that she would.
Yeah,
be,
but
You
I
gotta talk
would.
into the top of the mic.
Yeah,
you have doubts that she would be agreeable to such.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's not fair for me to say.
Okay.
I certainly would be very interested in that kind of a conversation or
Okay,
debate.
if it's okay, I'll reach out to her and
Sure.
see.
Is your new district more friendly towards you or less?
I don't know. I really loved my old district. Obviously Beaverdale. Half of the district was in Des Moines. Beaverdale, the Hoover area, Northwest Drake area is more liberal than Johnston and Grimes. But the people were awesome there. I'm really happy with both situations. It was a nice change because it really created an opportunity for me to get to know more people. Johnston and Grimes people are awesome as well.
Well, you were the mayor for a number of years too up there.
Well, you were city council and then mayor.
Yeah.
2 years city council, 7 years mayor.
Yeah.
That's correct. In Urbandale.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm trying to think what it was that you did for me. Man, this was a long, long time ago. Are you still meeting in that place for city council that's on 72nd?
Well,
No, you're not. Now you're over at the
they got a brand new city hall that was really funny. I actually built the builder, had it built, and started the groundwork to make that move happen, where we moved our facilities. And then when I resigned as a mayor, because I got elected to the state senate, they moved in that spring. So I set it all up, and I never got to have a meeting there.
That's incredible. All right, so re-election is November 3rd?
I believe so.
Election day. And I need to offer Miyoko. I need to offer her, obviously, equal time.
Sure.
So I will do that and see if the two of you would want to come in for a debate. Now, who could we probably should get somebody from the Register. No, I'm dead serious, Tom. Okay. We should probably get somebody from the Register who represents the liberal side, so we can have...
The challenge to get somebody on the other side there, Mac.
The conservative?
Yeah.
That'd be you.
Okay.
That'd be you. Or Frank. No, forget Frank.
Well, I would be happy with anybody.
All right.
Questions are questions.
So as of right now, you don't have any debates planned?
No, but I'm going to assume that the Urbandale, maybe even the Johnston and Grimes chamber might put together some type of forum.
Or the
they call them
women's
forums now.
The Women's Voting League?
Yeah, I mean, they've done that, and I've participated in those as well in the past. So, no, I have not been communicated that there's any of them that are planned. I have nothing on my schedule right now. But I would assume there will be some
fun.
forums.
I'd like that.
Is Miyoko her first name or last name?
Miyoko is her first name.
What's her last name? Or is that... Okay, all right. I'll find her. I'll look her up.
I've got it if you want.
I would have to...
You do?
I know.
Good.
I just have
Send me
probably...
a link on that,
I would
Bob.
hate to butcher...
Sure.
Pronounce. I know what her last name is, but I don't want to butcher it on air.
That's
out
all
of
right.
respect.
Yeah, you're a respectful guy. I'm good with that. All right. I want to talk about Prairie Meadows, and I want to talk about Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
And there may be some other things that come up. Obviously, you, the listener, if you've got some questions for State Legislator Brad Zaun, you can call
Or Tom Coates.
Why'd you do that?
Because he's interesting to talk to. More interesting than me.
Or Tom Coates. Or Frank or Bob.
Frank or
me
Bob be awesome.
515-244-0077, or you can text them at the Service Legends Truth text line. Excuse me, at 809-0993. I do have a Facebook asking me if I've gone any further, if any further plans have been made on my Israel trip. And I think I told you about this, didn't I?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did. I think I
probably
last
don't know
week.
about this. 2 Fridays ago, I had Pastor Stephen Corey on the air. And Pastor Corey is American educated from a college standpoint, but born and raised and lives in Israel.
Oh, wow.
And he's actually a Palestinian. And he plants Christian churches all throughout Israel. And he has planted a new church. Where would be the coolest place? Where would be... Now, Brad, I'm going to quiz you here. But now you're a Christian man, and I'll bet you can answer this. Where would be the coolest place in the world to celebrate Christmas Eve?
Well, obviously, Jerusalem.
Yeah, Bethlehem.
Right, Bethlehem.
He's planted a church in Bethlehem and has invited me to come over for that week prior to Christmas Eve to do Mac's World over there live, and then to broadcast their Christmas Eve service live from Bethlehem.
That's awesome. That's really...
I mean, I I just want to say it. Just hold on.
I've never been there.
Hi, it's J. Michael McCoy, and this is Live Max World, and I just want to say it. We are live on Christmas Eve 2016 from Bethlehem. I got to tell you, that's anyway,
really awesome.
Things are going well. Now, I'm not going to take a tour over there because I'm not interested in tours. In fact, one of the things I said to Stephen Corey on the radio was, I'd love to come and walk where Jesus walks, but I don't want anybody telling me that I can't walk on the other side of the red ropes, or we're going to go here, or we're going to go there. I want to go where I want to go. And so he's going to hook me up with some private people that he knows, and we're going to go wherever we want to go. Wow. What was the valley that David and Goliath fought their battle in?
The Kidron?
Yeah, we're gonna go there. I'm going to get rebaptized in the River Jordan.
Wow.
Now, incredible. If anybody wants to go with, I guess you can go. I mean, Bob, you're thinking about going, right?
Yeah, I'd love to.
There's a price on it, and it's the airline tickets, and it's the 3 squares a day, and it's a hotel room, and the hotel is literally a 5-minute walk from this church in Bethlehem. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to do Monday through Friday that week live in Max World. So right now we would be broadcasting live from Jerusalem. The challenge I have, guess what time of the day that is?
9 hours later.
Yeah, it's midnight. So I'd have to stay up till midnight. Bob wouldn't be saying 5 seconds. He'd be saying, somebody wake Mac up. But I don't have any problem if somebody else wants to go along, but I'm not doing a tour guide thing. I'm not doing that. Do not expect me to do any of that. But if you'd like to experience this, we can talk about it. But anyway, can you imagine, Brad?
That would be incredible.
Wouldn't that? I'm blessed.
On my bucket list.
Well, maybe you should go, you and your bride. All right, we're coming back. Prairie Meadows. The IRS is after him. This is serious, and you are too. We're live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
21 minutes after 4 o'clock, 4:21 in the afternoon, live here in The Truth, 99.3. Man, it was a ball having Weiss Merkel Financial on yesterday. Thank you for calling in with your questions. Thank you for texting in with your questions. Remember, that event is coming up a week from today. It's the Passport to Retirement, and it's free. It's a $50 value, but you can get it free through the radio station. All you have to do is call Jebediah and give him your contact information. We'll forward that on to Weiss Merkel. But just imagine, and by the way, this is not a large seminar with 100 people. This might be a dozen people. They limit the size of this, so it's very organic and it's very personal. And imagine being able to sit down with a retirement specialist for 3 hours and ask any and all questions you want. And there's no cost. They're not going to try to sell you anything. If they try to sell you something, you call me and tell me, because I want to know, because they tell me that's not what they do. And Bob, they didn't try to sell you anything when you went to it.
Nope.
So call us here at 244-0077 and get signed up. It's next Tuesday, the 19th of July, and it's held in West Des Moines. And then the next one, I believe, is in Ankeny. So they move these things around. But come on, it's free. Can I tell you something you don't want to hear? Is that okay with you for just a minute? This is just you and me here on the radio. Can I tell you something you don't want to hear? You don't know enough about retirement to pass this up. Am I wrong? You don't know enough about what's going to happen to you in retirement, even if you're semi-retired or retired now. Do you know that the average person, when they roll over their 401k from one company to the next, does not make any changes on it for 2 years? You don't check the fees. You don't do any of that. I'm guilty of it too. I mean, Tom, he's an investment hound. He can probably tell me where the Dow Jones is right now. I have no idea. What is the Dow Jones now?
About 18.2.
18.2?
Yeah.
That's really high, isn't it?
Is threatening. In fact, I think today it nosed above the 2015 high, which is if it can hold that, then most people would expect to see a new bull leg put up. But you've got to be real careful right now because it could jab it and then turn. But at this point, yeah, around that area.
All right, so Weiss Merkel gets together, 3 hours, free of charge. You can walk out whenever you want. You can walk in and ask them a question or two questions. You get a free big booklet. Just call us and get a couple seats and go. 515-244-0077. Jevier.
Well, I was going to suggest that about 60% of the people who are entering retirement don't know what they're doing. I think they said yesterday about 40% kind of have an idea and 60% have no idea what they're getting into.
So, anyway, you ought to go. It's free. I don't know why you wouldn't. I just hope you do, okay? And if I got a little chewy with you, I apologize. I've just been amazed at what I've learned from these guys. And I thought I was pretty good at this stuff. I mean, I'm not as good as you are, Tom, but I pay attention to what happens with my money. But, man. All right, let's talk about Prairie Meadows for a minute. Can you kind of fill in the audience, Tom, of what's going on with Prairie Meadows and why this is a real deal? First of all, what's going on, and then why we should care.
Sure. Prairie Meadows, I think I heard you guys talking about when I was coming in, that Prairie Meadows started out as a horse track. There's still some pent-up ire toward the Polk County supervisors because they put it in, and nobody in their right mind would have believed that a horse track in the late 1980s was going to be viable. As you said, Xarban and other horse tracks around the country were in trouble. They were going out of business. There was no sense that made any sense, except that it did when you understood the plan. Plan was, 2 years later when they go into default and bankruptcy, And then they run a pretty significant ad campaign around Des Moines saying that, do you want to pay off all of this debt that your Polk County supervisors have obliged you to do so, or do you want somebody else to pay it? Put slot machines in, and the rest is history. So, but Mac, they have run this as a for-profit operation in all sense. Now, they have paid money to the county, they paid money to the city, they paid money to a lot of people. They have feathered a lot of nests over the last many years since they've been in business. But that does not mean that they are a legit nonprofit. They never have been. And you know, a lot of us wondered why they kept the horses around. Brad, you know, the horses have cost them over $20 million a year for years. And now we know. Because the horses were the way that they shoehorned their way into a nonprofit status. There's only 2 nonprofit casinos in the country. One of them's here and one of them's in Dubuque, and Dubuque will go the same way as Prairie Meadows very quickly. Now, your question is, I think, Mac, is it going to be sold? That was your question to me off the air, Frank.
Yeah.
And I didn't answer it.
Well, yeah, but I want to ask you a shorter question.
All right.
What was the significance? Why would the horses and nonprofit, what's the connection there?
Well, the horses were set up as a nonprofit parimutuel operation, and there is some precedent for that. There is no precedent for a nonprofit casino. It, by its very definition, based on the IRS code and laws that are written up, a casino cannot be a nonprofit. One of the things is that you can't compete with for-profit operations as a nonprofit. And you sure as heck can't do what they did 12 years ago and have for-profit operations coming to the city of Des Moines and saying, we would like a referendum, we would like to have a competing casino, only to have Prairie Meadows come in the door as you're leaving, come in the other door and offer you $6 million a year and pay it for the next 11 years to, in essence, keep off private competition.
So I'm reading, I think, the Register. I saw the headline said something to the effect, Prairie Meadows coin flipped whether it will be sold. What's your insight on that?
I think that's the Des Moines Register has been deficient for a long time in properly reporting on the downside of Prairie Meadows. The last time was in the late 80s. They ran a front page story, gambled to death, about a fellow named David Davenport, a client of ours that ended up committing suicide, and he'd racked up $60,000 in credit card debt at Prairie Meadows, and the picture showed him grinning in front of a slot machine at Prairie Meadows after he'd won a jackpot. But he ended up, within days of coming in to see us, committing suicide. Wow. And so Bill Petrosky ran an excellent story. I quoted it a number of times after that. And that was really one of the last stories until now that they've run legitimately, because they became a strategic partner, as so many other entities did in Polk County.
So they were a mouthpiece?
Yeah, absolutely. And Rick Green got upset with me for calling them out on that a few years ago and called and left me a profane message on my voicemail. I hit too close to home. He knew that it was the truth. Now, they are doing some legitimate reporting, and I think the discussion about, okay, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to appeal the IRS's ruling to the IRS, and they're going to get turned down. So the next thing they have to do, and I think you said they owed $60 million. That's about roughly what it is. But it's continuing to grow because they haven't paid it yet, and they continue to operate every day with profits that they're owing taxes on that they're not paying. So this bill continues to go higher. Now, the next thing they'd have to do, as I understand it from my CPA, is to then legally appeal it, but at that point, they'll probably have to pay the $60+ million, which I don't think they have laying around, before they can do that appeal, and then even then, it's very doubtful that they'll pass it. So maybe the smarter thing to do would be, once you get turned down with the immediate quick appeal to the IRS, which they're not going to go with, unless you get to Lois Lerner and you get on the right side of her.
Yeah.
Other than that, they're going to say no. And then the easy thing might be, I saw the numbers, $500 million, maybe $1 billion sale. That might make a whole lot more sense. It'd give them money to pay off their tax bill, and they could throw money out to who laid the chunk and then let a for-profit come in, quickly slam the door on the horses, which at some point has to be done. You can't continue to spend $20-some million a year on horses. Brad, I see you shaking your head.
Can't do it.
Jump in
it's
here.
It's in the code. It's in the code book.
Jump in here.
Prairie Meadows has to have legislation to be able to get rid of the horse racing.
Okay. All right. You've been around this thing. In fact, Brad, I said to your credit, you were the only elected official in the Polk County area that was willing to stand up when we had a rally at one point to protest what was going on with the slots and everything at Prairie Meadows. Now, therefore, you've got the history, you've got the backbone. I'd like to get your comment on this as well.
Well, I agree with a lot of the things you just said in regards to, I've always had a problem with Prairie Meadows. Gambling in general, I think we've got too much casinos all over the place, and we've become dependent or addicted to this gambling revenues. All our local governments, schools, nonprofits, everybody's addicted to this money now. And unfortunately, the IRS, or unfortunately, the IRS has come in because it's really going to hurt a lot of nonprofits in the area. Regards to horse racing, that was the only positive that I saw that came out of Prairie Meadows, because I knew they bought bales of hay, provided a lot of good jobs in the area, a lot of people that are involved in horse racing, which are friends of mine. But the fact is exactly what you said. It's not a nonprofit. It's a huge loss to that track, those horses. In a second, if it wasn't in the Iowa Code, Prairie Meadows would get rid of the horses, because those slot machines, there's hardly any maintenance. They're slot machines. They're money machines. I've always had a problem with Prairie Meadows because, it's owned by us taxpayers. Our government owns Prairie Meadows, and what kind of government bets against its own people? And that's the way I look at it.
I never thought about it that way. You ought to get some verbiage from him, Tom, because that was a good line.
I said that at that press conference.
We have discussed
I've never
this.
heard that said before. What kind of government bets against it?
What do you think the lottery is, Mac? That's what I've been saying. It's a regressive tax that hurts the people. Somebody said, there was a professor in the paper that he talking about the lottery. He says, well, they're taking half the money. They need to give more of it back because most of it comes from poor people. No, they gave even more of it back. It'd only be more of an incentive for those poor people to go and spend the money they don't have every week to the lottery. That was really the nose of the camel in this tent. Is when we convinced people that gambling was the way to go, and everything else has been desensitized with the insertion of the lottery years ago.
Frank?
Brad and Tom both address this. So would you guys both imply that the horses, it was their strategy all along when they put the horses in to follow that with slot machines?
Absolutely. Nobody in their right mind, Frank, would have put in a horse track back in the late 80s.
Okay,
it made no sense. If you hadn't had that in mind.
I have some history on this. Okay, if you remember what happened originally, us taxpayers in Polk County, we were forced on these bonds that eventually went bankrupt.
And they fired 2 of the supervisors that voted for it.
Right. So we as taxpayers own the damn debt. That's what we did at the time. Well, at the time, the Iowa Code did not allow casinos that were not on water. Okay, that's when they started this whole thing. I voted against it several years ago to change that law. Now they do not have to be on water. That's why if you look at some of the original casinos like down in Clark County, they're on water. They're really not on water. It was something they made up, and there was water somewhat.
They don't sail anymore, and they can't sail anymore. Yeah.
Anyway, and that's why Sioux City, they closed that down, and so we changed the law there.
And by the way, that also goes into a tax disparity between the riverboats and the land-based casinos. Land-based casinos were supposed to cap out at just short of 40%, and they sued the state of Iowa, which was only taxing 20% on the riverboats at that point, and then they ended up compromising. The compromise is way too low to even start to redress the social costs they put on us, Brad.
And then the other thing I've had a bill entered for many years, I refiled every year, that to stop the proliferation of these casinos. They just keep building more and more, and obviously it's going to have an effect on the other ones.
We're coming back. Brad Zaun from District 20 and Tom Coates live here on The Truth.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs,
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Yeah, we're kind of come back on here right now, and then one more break. 4:38, 22 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News, and then the Hank, the Bible Answer Man, the Hank, the Bible Answer Man, Hank.
Anagraph.
1-888-ASK Hank, and get in there now and get your calls. All right, I want to wrap up the Prairie Meadows thing because I want to talk about the Black Lives Matter, but I want to talk about Des Moines. I don't want to talk about Chicago. I don't want to talk about Philadelphia. I don't want to talk about Dallas. I want to talk about Des Moines because we have a very active Black Lives Matter group here.
Oh, I didn't know it.
They had a rally last Friday. Mm-hmm. It was peaceful, as most of... We're really fortunate in Des Moines because whenever we've had race issues, you've got a KO, Samad, and you've got some other people who come in and really calm the seas, and we usually don't have violence. But those days may be behind us. It seems that there are some violence and protests and rallies being planned over and over. And I've got the lady who's the head of the Black Lives Matter group here in Des Moines, and she's coming on the radio either later this week or early next week, so we can talk about that. So Prairie Meadows, basically, what's your prediction? Now, I'm asking you for not discernment.
Yeah.
I'm asking for your prediction.
Okay, my prediction will be, of course, that they will lose the initial appeal that somebody, some people think that is up in the air. It's not up in the air. I don't think that's up in the air at all. I think they lose to the initial appeal. Then, as they make plans to do the legal appeal, I think that might be the time because they'll look at that, and then they'll start saying, we're not likely even to win this. And we're going to continue to build up a tax bill, every month going forward on this. And maybe it would be smarter for us to take the bird in the hand, go ahead and sell out to a for-profit, let them worry about dumping the horses and so on and so forth, and just move on. And so I think there's a good chance of that. I think the Register had a good point the other day when they talked about maybe being a coin flip. That would be my guess.
Okay. Do you want to take a stab now? Okay. So let me ask you like a 6-year-old. So Prairie Meadows goes away?
No, the casino doesn't. Maybe they don't. Maybe it gets a new name. Maybe.
And is it privately owned then?
Well, maybe a Caesar's Palace or a Harrah's or a Golden Nugget or somebody like that comes in, and there was a group that came in some years ago, and they offered them $300 million, and they thought that was way too low, and they didn't even bother to pursue it. Probably was too low, but maybe somewhere between 500 to $1 billion. Might not be too low, and it might be the right price. Now, I will say this. There's a whole lot more casinos out there than there was then, not only in Iowa, but all over the country. And it isn't just an automatic open up a casino sign and you print your money.
No, we've got 21 casinos in Iowa, more per capita than Nevada.
Right, and without the political clout. See, the Prairie Meadows has been a cash cow for the Polk County Democrat machine since it opened up. And so they've had the political clout to keep off competition. But people like Gary Kirk have been chomping at the bit to come in here and to compete. And that was the reason that they paid off City of Des Moines $6 million a year for the last 11 years, because they wanted to keep off private competition. So if you had a second or third casino in the metro area, it would not be worth maybe $1 billion. It'd be worth a whole lot less. And you look at Atlantic City and some other places, some of the casinos have gone under. So it's not a guarantee to print money. I might take the bird in the hand, especially given the thought that I might have competition in a few years.
Hold on. What do you mean by that?
Well, right now they paid off everybody, so nobody can come in even close to them and compete. But you see, that's the thing. We've got protected monopoly status. They like to say, we're like any other business, but they're not. They have gotten protected monopoly status through the Racing and Gaming Commission, and if I want to go into any place that has a casino, I've got to go up in front of the Racing and Gaming Commission, and one of their primary concerns for years has been, well, is this going to adversely affect another casino? If it is, then the answer is no. Protected monopoly status, geographically set up so that the same fish don't get pulled out by too many lines.
Okay, that last offer they turned down, did you say was $300 million?
Yes.
About a half a
billion. Do you think they'd jump at that now?
I think they want more. I think they'd want closer to at least $500 million. But I think, given the things that I'm laying out for you guys, I think it might be smart to take the bird in the hand, get out, and not worry about what might happen down the road. So I think the Register might have something there.
All right. So you're what I hear you saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Tom, but what I hear you saying is that we, the people, Polk County, is probably not going to own Prairie Meadows for much longer.
No, I think that's right. I mean, they could drag it out for a few years, but again, that tax bill, unless they pull a real upset, they're going to lose on this idea that they should be a nonprofit. So that tax bill. So are you going to
$60 million
and growing? Are you going to continue to grow this federal tax liability with the idea that you're going to continue to feather all the nests, including $20 million a year for horses? That's not a good, wise business move. So I think they're staring in the face of reality, and somebody over there probably at some point is going to say, "Let's pull the plug here."
So does the taxpayers get any reimbursement, any kickback from the sale?
Well, they would have a lump of cash. And then it would be up to them to how we're going to distribute this. Polk County, Brad, why don't you speak on this? What do you think?
Spend it. It will not be
sure.
Property tax relief. We won't get any money back. They'll spend it.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, there'll be zip.
Yeah. But in theory, the Polk County taxpayers would get some of that largesse, right?
But they would spend it. They don't have to.
I understand. But I mean, in theory, there'd be hundreds of millions of dollars to spend somewhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. We all okay?
Yes.
Moving on from this. Robert, you okay? You got anything on the text line?
I'm always okay.
All right. The Black Lives Matter movement. Would everybody in this room be okay with the conversation that the Black Lives Matter movement is one of the causes for the deaths or the situation that then ended up with the death of police people in different cities across this country.
Yes.
Can you OP? Yes. Are you okay with that?
Yes. I mean,
you're the guy elected here, so I want to be the most careful with you.
No. I want to. I mean, we don't know yet exactly what's going on. We're speculating based on the little bit of information that we have in regards to this individual. But obviously, there was a Black Lives rally going on, and police officers, unfortunately, were killed and injured in the process. So I would say that had something to do with it.
Do you? All right, but
and based on what we've heard, reports that he said before he died.
Yes, that he was out to kill cops.
Kill white cops is what he said, I think. That's what I recall.
I think that's correct. Right. All right. So we have an active Black Lives Matter group here in Des Moines. And I believe I'm going to be able to get the leader of that group on our radio station here in the next few days or probably not, probably by the end of next week. You're the elected guy in the room, so I'm going to put you on the hot seat first.
Okay.
What should be the position of me, the listener, me, the Christian, me, the guy who wants to follow Jesus and put him before anything else? What should we do to protect our community from this type of racist protests and what could be murder?
Well, the only person...
And you can change that question.
But the only person that I know that's active in this movement is Akeo Samad, who I consider a friend, and I certainly have a lot of respect for him, and I'm glad that he's involved in this movement, and I'm glad to hear that there wasn't any violence and hasn't been any violence in the Des Moines area. With that said, there's always going to be bad eggs in society. Okay, there's going to be bad cops. There's going to be bad doctors. There's going to be bad radio DJs. There's going to be there's a handful. Every once in a while, you're going to get a bad actor, bad politicians. With that said, I was mayor of Urbandale, and I certainly recognize, because I had a deep involvement with the police department. As a mayor, I rode around with him in the middle of the night, scared the heck out of me, and I have more respect for him from that than as a state senator. I rode around the troopers.
All right, you hold right there. We got a hard break, 2 minutes. We'll come back. I want you to pick it up right there when we come back, okay? Tom Coates is here. Brad Zaun is here, state legislator, District 20. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
4:50, 10 minutes before the top of the hour. 515-244-0077. That's the number you can call. Phone lines are open. Jebediah will answer and get you on the air. We're talking about the Black Lives Movement, not the one in Dallas, not the one in Chicago, not the one in Philadelphia, not the one. Talking about the one here in Des Moines. And the young lady who is kind of the head of the Black Lives Matter, well, the head is probably not the right word. She has volunteered to come in and represent them. And it's the Mothers Against Violence group. They've kind of tied that in together. A real good group, by the way. Really good group. But you said it. You said it a minute ago, and then I had to cut you off. There are good cops and there are bad cops.
Very few of them.
Right, I agree. And one of the things that this community seems to do well, and my heart always goes out to these cops that get in trouble, and their names get in the newspaper, and their pictures get in the newspaper, and then they're fired or they're let go. And I think of that poor young man over there. He's not a poor young man, but I think of the guy over in Pleasant Hill, which his personal life just kept getting in the way, and eventually he lost his job. And there are obviously thousands and thousands of quality people of all colored skin, but it takes just one.
Right. And we had a situation when I first became mayor, if you can recall, where we had an incident where someone was racially profiled, someone in our police department. And I made it very clear with the chief of police that I will not tolerate that anymore. And no one should be racially profiled. I think the incidences that happen up in St. Paul and Louisiana are just disgusting. And those people should be held responsible. With that said, my advice to everybody is go out and tell a police officer, thank you for protecting our family. Because they do really hard work, as I was mentioning. I rode around on 2 different occasions with the State Patrol and our city police. It was on a Friday night after 10 o'clock till probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I was really scared in that police car, and certainly they put themselves in a really bad situation. And I want people to cool down here, and certainly let's let the court systems and everything that's out there prosecute these bad police officers or bad businessmen or bad whatever they are. I just want everybody to quietly, peacefully protest if that's what they want to do.
Frank.
Brad, do you and Tom both, do you think these are basically fundamentally honorable, peaceful movements, and they're just disrupted by some anarchists, Black Panther types, or that are being bussed in, or do you think this is at its core a manufactured
Well, I think it's very contrived, Frank. I think that's, on your part, it's a rhetorical question, but I'd be happy to answer it. Where's the money coming from? The single biggest contributor to the Black Lives Matter is a guy named George Soros, who is a reprehensible piece of human debris. I don't care if he's a billionaire. He got his going, working, changed around, worked for the Gestapo during World War II, and pointed out his fellow Jews to go to the concentration camps, a teenager, and said this was a happy time of life for him. Now, he's given them $30 million, Frank. He's the biggest single contributor, $30 million to Black Lives Matter. And you ask how, this is an attempt, just like Occupy Wall Street was. There's another good example of a contrived, seeming, they wanted to mimic the Tea Party. They admired the Tea Party being able to do a grassroots organization. Since they couldn't get it done, people like Soros have paid for contrived organizations that appear to be grassroots.
Now, isn't Soros also famous for blowing up economies and the monetary systems in countries?
He's destroyed currencies and made most of his money by destroying the economies and the currencies of individual countries. You're exactly right.
Brad, he's
it's terrible. I mean, I really, I know that when we had the incident down in St. Louis, that there was a lot of people that were bussed in, which I think is unfortunate.
Oh, the gentle giant that was just on his way to Granny's for some cookies?
I'm not going into the case. I'm talking about all the protests.
Yes, I know. But the narrative, hands up, don't shoot, is still being said.
Right.
Even though that was never done, and eyewitnesses, black eyewitnesses, said this guy tried to get the cop's gun away from him and then rushed him as he was under... the narrative, and we've got a president, guys. I know I vented on this Friday, but we've got a president that has done all he could since the time he took the oath of office to try, instead of trying to unite this country, he's tried to divide it. Everything from if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon, to I know the police acted stupidly, to on and on, vilifying the police at the expense of saying that they're racist across the country. And then he's gone to take over police agencies all over the country by the dozens.
And he, I hate to tell you this, but he spoke at the memorial for some of the Dallas police people today.
I know.
And he turned it into politics.
Yeah, he sure did.
That's too bad.
A pep rally.
Well, I'll tell you, I think what's really sad is that we have a president that really could have been one of the best presidents in the history of the United States, just because of his background. And he would have been a great example for the African American community, and he could have brought our country together. And I would agree with you, Tom. He's done the opposite.
So
intentionally so.
So he was in the prime seat to bring racial healing, and he's done nothing but divide us racially.
And many white people in this country voted for him back in 2008, thinking that that's exactly what he would do. And instead, his agenda was just the opposite, and it continues to play out today.
All right, I want to thank everybody for being in today. Tom, next week, who did we talk about maybe trying to get next week?
I don't think we've decided on a name yet. I don't think we want to throw a name out.
Okay.
So I sent you something on an email today that...
Okay. And if there's anybody you'd ever like us to talk to on politics, local politics, okay, for heaven's sakes, email me. Go to my website, 993thetruth.com. Go to macmccoy.com. Remember, McCoy is spelled MCKOY. Reach out to me any way you can and make a suggestion. And maybe there's a politician out there you'd like to sit down and talk with. Come in on the radio and talk with them. I'm always open. This is your show, not mine. You're the star of the show. I do want to...
Frank wants Hillary.
What's the chances of getting her in here?
Slim to none, and Slim just walked out the door. Now, tomorrow, your brother's on.
Yes.
And tell me what that's going to be about.
Well, he's a walking, defying miracle. He's defied death, and he's a walking miracle. He's defied death on 3 occasions, and he has a very interesting story that you'll hear all about tomorrow.
And that's the 4 o'clock hour? No, you're going to bring him on the first hour.
I don't know if it's... I think it's too much to crowd in an hour. But if we need, we can use part of that second hour possible.
All right, yeah, let's just plan on 3. We'll do our news stuff until about 20 minutes after so we can update everybody on the local news.
Right.
And then we'll get into your brother and we'll go from there. Now, do you want me in this chair or do you want to be here?
Yes. No, you treat me as a guest also because I am as much involved in the story as he is.
All right. Now, you shot him once, right?
It was a gunshot wound inflicted by me.
Okay. That's going to be tomorrow's show, folks. I don't think you want to miss that one. Brad, thanks for being here. You're always welcome.
It's an honor to be here.
Congratulations on running again, and we'll try to get your opponent and see if we can get the two of you together. Tom, thanks for being here. Everybody else, thanks for being here. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you, thanks for listening. I love this job, and I can't do it without you. I just can't. So keep listening. Remember, as I always end the show, you have a resentment towards somebody. Don't tell me you don't. Tonight, take that resentment and put it at the feet of Christ, where all the grace is, because as you forgive, you will be forgiven. I'll see you at church.